327 Federal Magnum beats 9mm. Today what I have is buffalo bore ammunition. And the reason why I make that statement is it's pretty much joking around, but what I'm saying is that the 327 Federal Magnum is one of the few cartridges that actually matches the penetrating power through hard barriers as the 9mm. Even 357 Magnum sometimes has a hard time matching the penetrating power of 9mm, but 327 Federal Magnum seems to do really well. Now, I always kind of find these comparable because both are really efficient short barrel cartridges. The 327 Federal Magnum, you know, you're essentially the same case length as a 38 Special, but smaller diameter. Instead of about 20,000 psi, we're at like 45,000. It's huge. It's a huge increase in pressure, but your powder isn't higher, so it's very efficient in a short barrel. It was designed out of a short barrel, designed to be a short barrel snub nose cartridge. It's a very good cartridge, but the 9mm also is a very good short barrel cartridge. And with these two cartridges, this is 9mm is 124 grain. The 327 is a 100 grain. They're about the same sectional density. The hollow cavities are about the same between the two. Interesting thing here is I did this earlier. The reason why I use these two guns here is because they have about the same amount of barrel travel from the bullet nose to the muzzle, and by using these straws and cutting them and putting them in the bores, this is what you got. 9mm, the blue straw there, that's about how far it is from the bullet nose to the muzzle, and the red is the 327, as if we can see here, basically identical. Now some people will say, well, you got the cylinder gap, you're going to lose power. Well, that's unavoidable, and also you have a little bit of power from the 9mm reciprocating that slide, so you know, maybe but also I want to do a wood penetration test between these two 9mm and 327 Federal Magnum cartridges. This will be kind of interesting just to kind of see what they do through 2x4. So as always, I'm going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy I get at the same time, and then I'm going to go through the Juggernaut box, which contains a 1 3/4 inch pack of bologna. This kind of simulates like a pectoral muscle. We're covered by 4 layers of denim and followed by 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard. That fiberboard kind of represents like ribs or sternum, and into water jugs to catch these bullets. And how really good FBI passing cartridges typically perform in my ballistics box is a dent out the back of jug 3 is typical, which is going to indicate, you know, about 15 inches comparison to ballistics gel. But also one more test. Billy and Willie in one of my tests, well, I took them out, but they've come back as zombies. And here they are. And what I like about water jugs is they're pretty much the same size, same diameter, same everything, same weight as a human head. But these guys are zombies now. And in my experience, you want to keep a little bit of a distance from zombies. And also, if you can take them out, you want to take out, you know, a headshot on them. So I'm gonna put these guys at 50 yards, just shoot these two cartridges at it just to see what I can do. It'll be kind of fun. So let's get started with the test between 327 Federal Magnum and 9mm. All right, I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. This particular 124 grain load is a plus P. It's rated at 1225 feet per second. Typical ratings for most velocity in 9mm out of a 4 to a 5 inch barrel. And this is only a 3 1/4 inch, so we should get less than 1225, but let's see what we actually get. 1182, 1159, 1169. That's interesting. I typically don't get malfunctions with this G2C. That's one of my first. See a little bit of a jacket shaving. I don't know where that came from, but it was stuck between the cartridge and the chamber. So that's what caused that malfunction. $11.73. Pulled that shot, 1182. So pretty close to rate of velocity for being such a short barrel. So it definitely is a very efficient cartridge. Now let's try that 327 Federal Mag. All right, Ruger LCR 327 Federal Mag. This 100 grain round is rated at 1450 feet per second. That's almost always typically out of a much longer barrel. But this is my daily carry. So any day I get to shoot my daily carry gun, it's a good day. So We'll see how close we actually get to 1450. I expect it to be pretty far off though. 1311. No read. 1281. 1255. No read. 1257. Let's run one more. Now, I've actually tested this round one time in the past, and this is my recommendation for a 327 snub carry round. As we saw there, the case is ejected, but just stuck a little bit. But this is about as high as you want to go and still have reliable case extraction. So let's try to get another velocity reading here. 1307. So my point of impact is a little bit high, but overall pretty comparable energy, I suppose, to the 9mm. So let's hit the ballistic box and see how these two compare to each other. All right, first up, I have that 124 grain XTP 9mm. We'll see how this does. All right, our fiberboard is up here in the box. And this is really good damage. This is typical for a 9mm plus P hollow point. So overall that did really well. Where we impacted the fiberboard, definitely can see that we're starting to get expansion already. So doing pretty well so far. Let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, our first jug, it just completely blew it apart. You know, this is typically what we see in performance, even in a full size 9mm pistol. So pretty good. Typical performance. Damage to the second jug here. Bullet's drifting a little bit to the right. Impact on 3. Big hole in 4. We definitely went all the way through 3. No significant dent out the back of 4, so that's going to be about 17 inches comparison to ballistics gel. So let's take a look at this bullet. And what we got is 100% typical for an XTP bullet. Decent expansion, not huge, but very uniform, and just overall nice looking hollow point bullet. Performance was pretty good. Let's try that 327. All right, 327 Federal Magnum. We'll see what we get. All right, our baloney pack and fiberboard blew back. And what I'm seeing here is very comparable to the 9mm. Not a huge amount of difference there. Definitely, it looks like it's starting to expand by the time it hits that fiberboard. This thing just blew right back at me as soon as I hit it. So let's see what we got in water jugs. All right, our first jug looks very similar to the 9mm. About the same amount of damage. However, our second jug is not split apart quite as much. So that high velocity is dumping more of that energy right away. Impact on 3, and the bullet is drifting a little bit to the right. Impact on 4. Bullets in 4, no dent at the back. Again, like the 9mm, about 17 inches comparison to ballistics gel. And what we got is typical XTP expansion, uniform. Looks the same as that 9mm. Very interesting. Now let's hit those wood planks and see what happens when we do that. I'm going to hit these a couple of times with each, see what we get. All right, let's try that 327. All right, 327 Federal Mag. Take that apart. All right, no pass-throughs to this wood pack. I didn't expect any. So let's see what we got here. First board. A couple of 9mm hits, a couple of 327s. 9mm, 327. And of course, we went clean through. The 9mm impacts look a little bit different than the 327s. Here's 2. turn this around. 327, 9mm. Again, the 327, it's just pushing more wood in there for some reason. And both went through. Impact on 3. A lot of chunks of wood in there. All of them went through. Impact on 4. Okay. So, what I can see here is one of these 327s, you can see the base of the bullet. The other one, you cannot. I'm going to guess it's probably from a knot. But with the 9mm, I don't see any bullet bases, and actually this one right here kind of touched that 5th board. And both of these 9mm, they're cracking out that 4th board. But almost equally well the 327 did. So the 9mm still penetrated just a little bit more, but I mean, we're talking a very close race here, because if this would have been like 38 special or something, it would have stopped in like board 2. And we're in 4 along with the 9mm. So that is very comparable overall. Now let's hit Billy and Willie Zombie at 50 yards if I can. That's kind of far, but you know, I'm just stretching it out for fun. So let's try that. All right, this looks kind of small from this distance of 50 yards. This is a challenge. I did put the metal tank kind of behind it, thinking, well, if I miss, maybe I can hear an impact. But yeah, that's out there. So I'm gonna go for Billy there on the right with the 9mm. See how close I can get anyways. I'm not confident with this gun quite yet. I wasn't expecting to hit him on shot 2, to be honest. That was good. I mean, the impact was good. It just blew it apart. Now, snub-nose revolver at 50 yards at a headshot. I don't know. Let's try that. All right, 327. I have no idea how these rounds are going to impact. You know, it's a short barrel, so it was going pretty high at 5 yards. So I guess maybe I'll aim a little bit below and see at 50 yards if it's the same. I'm going to aim right on him. Okay, we went really high. Probably can't see it on camera, but it's up a good foot high. So I'm going to aim right at the base of the ground. There we go. Snub nose at 50 yards, a headshot can be done if you know where your point of impact is. So that's what you get today. 327 Federal Magnum beats 9mm. Does it really? Not necessarily, but it has a lot less recoil than 357 Magnum. It has just as much penetrating power as 9mm or 357 Magnum. Has about the same recoil as 9mm. So overall, it's not a bad cartridge. It's a very efficient short barrel cartridge. That's what I really like about it, because a lot of people say, oh, you get a rifle, you extend that power so much. And that's true with 357 Magnum. But 327 is such a high pressured cartridge with a moderate amount of gunpowder, so you burn it up really quick. It doesn't really increase that energy in a longer barrel, but that makes it very efficient and a carry gun. So overall, really good performance of these rounds. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.